Hi everyone, it's Kasia from Tarot Map. Another video I'm filming at night, so I hope it's visible. I've got a pretty good camera, so I hope it doesn't really matter so much to you. I'm just burning some Palo Santo wood. I love the smell of this. It's so beautiful. So welcome. I've got my chimes here. So let me just play some welcoming notes. I wanted to make a video about a few tarot archetypes that I have been working on, and I'm talking about the Pope and the Devil. Mostly I am concerned with this little guy here, and you would be probably asking me why. So if you follow my Instagram, I did speak about the devil a little bit because I had two instances in my recent life that I pulled the devil card in the morning, and then I had some heated arguments with people, either with my husband or with strangers as well. And I was laughing that all the, non-violent communication skills that I have been practicing and that I'm studying went basically straight to hell. So I know that when we learn something, it's quite hard to practice it straight away, and it takes time to ground this information and make it work for us the way we really would love to. So since that time I have been pulling the devil card over and over again in all the different decks, and I do daily draws quite often. Actually, daily. I do daily draws daily, and seriously, out of all the daily draws, like 80% or 70% of times, the devil card was popping up for me. So I thought I want to investigate, and I remember that at some point when I was studying Tarot de Marseille, these two cards were kind of connected to one another, just because they both put the middle figure on the pedestal, and there's two figures here and there's two figures here. They're obviously different, and there's the hand gesture also. There's holding of the wand of some sort in one and the other, and here there's like wings, and here there are pillars. And so visually they're very similar, also in some way binding, and here's the bondage to tradition, and here's the bondage to whatever binds us in our lives. But I've done some notes, and these notes and this information is mostly based on, well, first of all, my work with these cards, but also on the book I'm going to write it down in the description box, because obviously, of course, I don't remember it right now. I can't remember his name, but it's Reading Tarot de Marseille. Anyway, please check the description box below, because it's going to be there for you. So when we think of devil, we have this really dark black spot in the bottom of the card. The devil is on the pedestal, and he's writing that devil is, it's a card that connects us, or that introduces to us the term of deception. So first of all, we think that devil is so huge, but when you actually take the pedestal down and you put the devil down and you take off his head, it won't be so much bigger that the people standing in front of him. So there's this deception where the figures maybe are not the same size, but definitely that exaggeration of the devil, of the size of the devil, it's a little bit deceptive. And we have here the hands that the figures have like behind them, like in the back. We're not sure if they tied or not tied, or if their hands are free. They just chose to stand like this, like hide something behind them. That reminds us a little bit of the hangman, which also have the hands kind of in the back. It's like we give away our power to create. We give away our ability to make things happen. Then another thing that comes to mind, it's also lies, and that deception that prevents proper insight from occurring through manipulation of perception and feelings. So devil can manipulate us, and if we fall into its trap, then we tie it down to that perception that it kind of wants us to have, and we don't have proper insight into the situation. Another word that comes up to mind when we look at devil, it's extremes. That might just looking at the image is quite extreme. Just the look at the belly, the chest with the breast, the horns, everything is like exaggerated and extreme. Also, what I found, it was interesting that the old woodblock from 1568, so about 100 years before Noble was created, Satan and Lucifer were shown as two different figures. And it seems that in Tarot de Marseille, these two figures were combined into one. Satan had the face in the belly, and Lucifer had like kind of the bird-like feet and the horned crown. And so this is also about temptation, that face in the belly, that desire to eat constantly, to have more and more and more. It's never enough. And also the deception which I was talking about comes around the gender. We're not sure if these guys are females or if they're males. We're not sure if the devil is female or male. We kind of get a vibe that he's male, but it's got the breasts. We're not sure if this is a penis or yoni. We don't know that. So this is also that deception and that kind of trap, when your mind kind of freaks out and doesn't know. Also, there's this binding structure. And also here we have that binding structure, but here we can maybe think that binding structure is supportive, whereas here, like, I don't think it's very supportive to these guys. Might be supportive to the devil, but not really. He's not even connected to it so much, unless maybe if we uproot the source of our bondage, then the devil loses its power and we can throw it off the pedestal, because that's how it's shown here. It could be also about pride. And David, I think his name is David, the author, he also combined it to the paintings of Lilith. Lilith was similarly depicted. She was on pedestal. There were two figures, mostly owls, and then Lilith was standing in the middle with wings, with raised hands, with clawed feet. So another image similar to devil. But also there is an old Lilith image that had two goats rather than owls. And the author of this book, Tarot de Marseille, Reading Tarot de Marseille, was pointing towards that horns that the devil and the figures are wearing. So that could be also the sexual appetite, which comes to mind with Lilith. and some seductive appeal, you know, that to what becomes a binding. So also two faces, which we can find when we look at the devil, like the human kind of face, so like head and thinking, and also that belly face, appetite, and, you know, desire and fulfilling that satisfaction. So if we don't balance these two faces with the heart, which the devil is lacking, then we have two extreme opposites, maybe two extreme opposites that bind us, because when we do one extreme, the other one is definitely not in balance. So that's also interesting about devil. And that the hand gesture, you know, and the stuck out tongue, devil is kind of inviting you, you know, like showing you his tongue, like he's playing with you. You can either get caught into his trap or just say, fine, goodbye devil, I see you, you know. With the Pope it's a little bit similar, but this is a spiritual direction, like a blessing maybe, or he might be pointing towards the direction. Maybe these two guys came to ask for his permission or for his blessing or for his knowledge. So there's three people, as I said at some point. This is the first card with three people, and it could be about spiritual community, it could be about blessing, guiding, counseling, preaching, teaching, or directing people. Questioning in this case is okay. Here questioning, you can question yourself, but here you can question the teacher. When you question devil, he will probably play with you. You can question the Pope, like the questioning. The blind faith is not necessary here. You can question, you can ask questions, you can, you know, you can ask question of the person in the position who can answer these questions. But tradition and what the Pope represents in a way requires obedience. So even if you ask questions, you kind of, you know, you kind of expect it of those who seek advice to kind of follow that advice, to follow that hand. But I thought even if you go to a doctor, because for example, Pope can often represent a person who has more knowledge than we have. So when we go for an advice to a lawyer, to a doctor, and if they give us advice, you kind of also take it, and most of the times you follow it. Of course, you can check it, you can question it, just like here, but you kind of expect it to take it and go with it. But this mostly is spiritual and psychological guidance, and this obedience kind of is applied. But this is also where you are invested in the hierarchy and old paradigm, in power struggles. You know, these two cards can be speaking about that. But as I said, I mostly wanted to speak about devil. The Pope just popped in because yeah, as I said, they kind of similar. But this devil to me also, when I was working with this archetype over the last week or so, and pulling it nearly daily, in the end I decided it revealed itself to me that I'm bound, and I find it hard to change the way I speak, and that nonviolent communication, which I'm studying and want to practice so badly, but it's kind of, I find it really hard to change my speaking habits. And I'm not talking about, you know, YouTube videos and stuff, but like when I'm emotional, or when the situation is not so easy, when I don't talk necessarily to strangers, or when I'm in a heated atmosphere, I would love to still be able to have enough awareness, and also enough awareness to create with my words. Sometimes I notice I'm a very harsh critic of myself, and I'm quite judgmental. So that's very devil. So for the new year, one of my new year resolution is to really work on my, you know, like on my throat chakra and on my speech, and really practice speaking from the heart, empathic listening, empowering my language. And what I thought, I decided I'm just going to use the soul cards. I looked through both of my decks, soul cards 1 and soul cards 2, and I thought I picked some cards that I thought would make a great like a great visual help prompt to practice conscious speaking, empathic speaking, conscious listening, and in general I picked some cards that I would like to, how I would like to feel in 2018. So this one I picked more maybe a little bit like a shadow, that whatever we speak kind of stares back at us. So whatever we say, if we judge somebody, if we criticize people, if we are being shitty, that really points back at us. This is what I imagine myself feeling like in spring. No, this is something which I really enjoy and would love to feel this way. It's ecstatic, happy, joyous. Also that creative juice, that spark from inside. That's something that I'm going for. So this one would be like a shadow part of what I'm working with. So that would be that, unsatiated, unsatisfied, full of desires and wishes, and that the binding kind of belly wants more and more and more. And this is this unconscious speech when you scream, when you shout, when you're not sure what, like you're not aware of what emotions are kind of taking hold of you. This one I just love, that this appreciation. I'm watching a lot of shamanic astrology videos right now, and they always remind you to look up to the sky and see the stars, and maybe even learn how to read and read your chart based on the sky, which I love the idea of. I can't do it, but I would love to learn. And this connection to the moon and that kind of golden rays, I love that. So that's something which I would love to feel also and do in 2018. That's another part of that conscious speech. And like I see what I speak, and what I speak creates my reality and sees me. So whenever I speak consciously, I'm aware of what I say and what I feel in my body. And it's another beautiful solar plexus support, kind of guidance, strength, happiness, and wisdom. And the sacred geometry that reminded me kind of the Hierophant, but also of creation and connection between things, like for example speech and action, or speech and consciousness, or speech and awareness, or also speech and creation and manifestation. This reminded me of energy work, which I would love to do more of in 2018, and work with my crystal skulls, work with astrology and tarot in vibrational way. So I love this image. And that's again like the third eye. So be aware of what you say, and then every word is like a blossom. I love this. And also here, that peacefulness, and whatever comes out of your mouth, it's like a white dove. It's like Ace of Cups. So I'd love to be so much aware of what I say. This reminds me of that strong center, and also of sharing your talents and blessings and what you love with the world. Here is a little bit of a shadow, like that screaming monkey mind, but you're kind of at peace with it. So thoughts come and go. So that's mindful approach to thoughts, allowing them to just pass. This reminded me of almas and the pearl, polishing the pearl. Also that peaceful attitude and staying centered even when the world goes crazy around you. I love this one because this is like this higher self, which is that big spiritual self, and that human self, like the body self, which is so centered and settled in that spiritual self. And that also that creative, you know, egg-like, and your mind creating your reality, and also those waves. So everything is vibration, everything resonates with different things. So whatever you think and whatever you focus on, that's what you will create and manifest. So another egg, like withdrawing, holding the idea, letting it grow. Also that could be, you know, a mouth. So whatever you say manifests as well. It's a seed. And I love this one for earthing and for grounding. Just that tree on top of that woman. Also caring for the earth and that connection to the earth. So that's what you can do. If you have any oracle decks, you can do it with the soul cards. I connected, as I said, 1 and 2. You can pick the images for 2018 that inspire you, that kind of make you, you know, feel happy. Also, you can pick the shadow ones that, you know, make you feel a little bit uncomfortable. And that's how I personally love to explore tarot archetypes and introduce some healing to it and make it more practical, make it more tangible, make it more accessible to myself and to others through me, you know. Like, that's why I would love to share this with you and not just keep it to myself, because I think this is a cool way, and especially when you visual and you working with pictures make you tick like it does for me, then you can do something like that, and that exploration, I'm pretty sure, will bring some new insights and new ideas. So this is my devil video, which I wanted to make for a while now. Thank you for watching, and I speak to you soon. Bye.